Okay.
Cello. This is
Cello.
a podcast. Oh, shit. Remember? Okay. Hello, my name is Jonathan, and this is the Doer and the Thinker podcast.
Xander Gray. I'm Xander Gray. You didn't even introduce me.
And this is Xander Gray.
In this Doer and the Thinker
Podcast.
Nice.
There was like this, so in California, we had this. Do you know Big Boy? Did they have Big Boy out here? He's like a DJ, like a radio host.
Oh, I think so. I think so.
Big Boy in the morning. I don't know.
Well, they have the typical Seattle radio station. I mean, like Sir Mix-a-Lot at his own kind of thing. But.
Well, this guy was like famous in LA, Big Boy, and he every time that he said Big Boy, everybody else would say Big Boy in the studio.
Oh, is that why you did it that way?
No, I just thought it'd be cool. But when we did it like that, it reminded me of Big Boy.
Podcast. How you been?
I've been good. I've been trying to get back into normal life.
You've been back for a week now, right?
Yeah, it'll be almost a little over a week. I think like a week and a half.
Week and a half. Yeah. And what you been doing?
Just playing with woods.
Playing with wood. Expensive wood, huh?
Yeah, some of it. So I actually decided that I'm gonna like be serious and like start keeping track of the stuff that I'm doing, like price wise, so I can like price out, stuff. So I'm doing that, and then I'm realizing that I fucking suck at math. So bad. Like,
why?
So bad. Because I'm trying to figure out, like, first of all, most of woodworking is math. A lot of geometry.
Okay. Strike one.
Yeah. And then a lot of algebra, right?
Okay. That's already strike one.
I'm done. That's it. Like,
you should just stop.
I passed. That's it, though.
A lot of 3/16, 30 seconds.
I don't know what the
all
fuck
that shit, dude.
An eighth of an inch is. Like, I don't even know how many marks is it.
Well, that's why you use a tape measure and stuff.
I know, but I don't even know where to find. Like,
okay, how big is an inch? Okay, don't lie. So about like this. This is about an inch. Okay, so an eighth of that. Yeah, an eighth of that. They're like, no, that's 6 inches, and you're like, this is 6 inches. Like, bro, that's not 6 inches.
I just start crying at that point.
You want me to keep going? Keep going.
No, but I just don't know. Like, if you show me a ruler, I don't know where to show you that it's an eighth of an inch.
Really? Okay, hold on. I have a ruler.
Let's do it.
Oddly enough. Oh god, you're fucked, dude.
I'm telling you, dude.
Look at that.
I'm going all based off instinct.
No, don't go by instinct. Okay, so check this out. So that's an inch, right?
Yeah.
And usually that's
a half inch.
So there's a quarter inch,
yeah,
half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, blah.
Got that.
And then
down packed.
So you want to go, then right here is an eighth. So be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So an eighth of an inch is that one. No,
yeah,
still don't. You're fucked.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
6, 7.
No, I don't know.
What are you counting?
I don't know, dude.
Okay, I'll show you later.
Yeah. But anyways,
that's a good reference.
That's the start of my woodworking career.
Oh, you know what though? Actually, then we go. So I have a ruler because I every once in a while I'll intonate my guitars and I have to kind of know where the strings have to sit. So I have a ruler that actually would show like an eighth of an inch or 3/16 of an inch. Or
like a
something.
digital?
No. It's a ruler.
I need digital, dude, because I can't read fucking watches. I can read digital watches.
You can't watches?
Nah. It takes me like 10, 15 seconds.
So you don't know what time that is? What time is that? Are you serious right now?
It's like 3:44.
3:43. 3:43. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I gotta count it out. I wasn't even exaggerating to be funny.
This is a new thing that I've learned about you.
Dude, I'm so dumb.
So with that, let's talk about insecurities.
Hey, what a segment, dude.
Right? You like that?
What a segment. Okay.
I haven't done it in a couple of weeks and I'm killing it.
Son. Yeah, we're getting into this.
So what is your smallest insecurity and your biggest insecurity? And I guess you can share as much as you want. I figured, and we can embellish a little bit if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. I guess we'll try to read each other.
Yeah.
So
I'm fat. And you're just like, yeah, you're fucking fat, dude.
Yeah, like, we're not trying to embellish
And I'm like,
this.
no, seriously.
No,
That
seriously.
is
I was like, oh shit, my bad. Like, oh shit, my bad.
my smallest insecurity. You know what? I honestly,
Don't say you don't have any.
I do have insecurities. But
I guess it's just a matter of how personal you want to share it, you know. So if you can't find any like that's like not that serious or too personal, then you know what I mean. You can go with that. Can you tilt that light? It's like
I
staring,
told you
right?
it's the bulb, right?
Yeah. That's good. Okay, cool. It's right in my face.
I think that, I haven't really ever thought about this. Like sometimes you think about it in an interview, but then you got to spin that shit, right? So you do some.
I mean,
whatever.
I guess it depends, you know. So like, I'm trying to think for mine. Like, I guess there's no really big or small insecurity. I guess it's just the level of what you're willing to admit,
Right.
You know, because sometimes I feel like you don't know until somebody you love or somebody close to you pointed out, and you're like, oh shit, that is an insecurity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like for me before, like, and this is facts, not trying to be like super because of what's going on or whatever. Like my at the time, like being Asian was like a biggest insecurity. Well, not biggest, but it's an insecurity because like regardless of what's going on right now, that sucks. But I growing up, it was like everything you see on TV or whatever. It's just like it's not you, you know. And then moving out here, they just assume that you're either good at math or like or they assume that you're like small dick. They assume like,
Which is not true in this case. I
know what I'm saying?
For a fact.
7 inches, bruh.
That's strong.
Strong
7.
So and like being called Oriental a few times, which is kind of weird. I was like,
so I've never understood what that word means. Like, is that like, I don't understand.
So to go back on like history, it would be kind of weird, but like the argument before was like they used to call them Orientals or whatever, and because from the Orient Express or whatever, you're from the Orient, so don't quote me on this. Like I'm not history, not anything, but if you're from like the west, no, from the east, then you know what I mean. Like you're Chinese or whatever, because that I think that route was called the Orient or whatever. So they just kind of grandfathered it in, but it's like to them it's not offensive, but to us it's a little offensive, you know. And I had to argue. Like I argue. This is like years ago. I had to argument with somebody. Is like, yeah, but why are you offended? Yeah, I guess it's more like respect the person. Like if I were to say something about, and not even about race, like just about anything, right?
Yeah.
Just like, and if you say that you're hey man, I'm offended by that, like, but however you're feeling is kind of valid. So I shouldn't be like, why? Like, you know what? Hey, my bad. I didn't mean to offend you. That was my bad. You know, so that was the biggest thing. And it's just like I didn't feel, because a lot of the times when you see TV or whatever, it's like, and I'm sure you have your own like when you see like for like every single time you see TV, it's like, oh, Mexicans are criminals, or they're doing this, they're doing that. You know.
I don't feel like that at all, and I don't know if maybe it's just because I'm ignorant, but I've heard a lot of people say that, like, oh, my culture or race is not what's the word, like it's not what's the word, it's not included, or I don't know,
inclusive,
I guess, I don't know, like it's like people say, oh, I've never seen like a Mexican superhero, and I feel bad about it. That's not something I've ever experienced, honestly. And I don't know why. I guess I just don't really pay attention to it, but also
you don't care enough.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, Superman has never been like, oh, it's a white guy.
Yeah, because technically he's an alien, right? So
yeah. Well, not even just that. I've never or like Jesus, right? Like Jesus is, I mean, I don't hold that much value in Jesus, but I've never been like, oh, Jesus is white, Superman is white. I've always just been like, oh, it's Superman, superpowers, cool guy, and then it's
Yeah,
Jesus.
you just don't think that's Jesus.
It's Jesus.
Well, for me, I guess it's different because I do I do believe in proper representation, and like I want to see,
That's the word.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I want to see more of people that look like me on TV, and because I'm again like I'm a nerd. I love watching action movies. I love watching like superhero movies, reading comics, whatever. So it'd be kind of cool to just see like, oh shit, like I think because growing up with a papa in my life, being able to kind of see that, you're like, oh, cool. Like the closest at the time was Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah.
Closest was Bruce Lee, and then before that was like Muhammad Ali for me, you know. But he's a black guy, you know. So I tend to lean towards like, oh man, and like for a while too, I'm like, man, I wish I was white. I wish I was white, you know, just because they're cooler, like, you know, whatever. Or like, man, I wish I was black, you know, because. But then it's like, it took me forever to really love my heritage and love my people and stuff, because like I think maybe on my end it was like I'm such an impressionable kid maybe when I was younger, so it's like, oh, you're Asian, so blah blah blah. I'm like, but that's not me though, like, you know. And I'm just so confused. They already put me in a box when they don't even know me, kind of thing, you know. At least for me when I was growing up.
I mean,
know?
I have experienced similar a lot of times, especially like coming up through the ranks, I guess you could say, you know, like being from poorer, you know, neighborhood, and then like you start shopping, like for example, at Nordstrom's or like Bloomingdale's, you know, and then like you get the follow or whatever. I have experienced stuff like that.
Can I help you? Yeah.
But I honestly, to me, I just don't. I guess I don't hold my self-worth in, and not that people that think that do, but I don't hold my worth in things like that enough to get. I can't be bothered by it, you know, like just because. I don't know. I guess I can't do anything about, and this is like how I just live my life.
Yeah,
I can't do anything about how other people perceive me, so I'm not gonna. I just.
Yeah. No. That's fair. I'm not asking like, it's not like I couldn't care less about the gatekeepers. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like now how I feel about it is like, cool. Yeah, I get to see they gave us a chance to be on screen or whatever. But my thing is like, growing up, I didn't see it at the time, you know. So for me, like, okay, then I need to be the example. I have to lead by example. I have to be the example, you know. Like if I want to see this type of person, or like strong, whatever, capable, smart, whatever, then maybe I should be that person. Maybe I can work towards being that for somebody else or whatever. That's how I kind of see it, because like to wait for like a savior, it's just unrealistic. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of help yourself and help the people around you, and then what becomes of that after is what it is, like, you know. And again, I'm not trying to go deep into it. It's just like just how I felt growing up, and that was like a big thing for me, was like I was so insecure about stuff like that, and like, oh, am I adequate enough, or am I good enough, or whatever. And then you have that weird chip on your shoulder, because you're like,
that's what I was gonna ask.
You have to be like a certain way, you have to be strong, you have to be assertive and aggressive and stuff. And even though
you kind of feel like you almost have to overcompensate a little bit.
Yeah, you know. And then now not so much. Now I just like, it was more like I put myself in a position where they don't call me like, oh, Asian Xander. They just call me Xander. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if you had that before. Like every single time when you have another person that's the same name as you, you don't call them White Jonathan. You call Mexican Jonathan, right?
I guess so. I don't know.
I've gotten that before.
It's been the opposite. Like people will call me Jonathan, and then
the other person White Jonathan.
Yeah. So like,
really?
Yeah,
well, that's lucky for you.
When I was in respiratory school, there was another Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
And then when they just called him white bread, and they called me wheat bread.
That's funny.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah. I've gotten that before, and I was like, man, Xander's like super. I'm not saying unique, but it's like not the same.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Alexander? I'm like, no, just Xander. That's why that's my tag name, just Xander, because they always ask like, Alexander? Oh, spelled with a Z, not an X. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
So,
But what do you think that like? Do you think that you still kind of overcompensate sometimes though, like for that insecurity? Because now that we're talking about it, I'm starting to get a sense of what my insecurities would be.
Now probably because of what's going on, and I'm like pissed about it and stuff, or what's going on with what's happening to my people and stuff like that. And again, I get there's crime everywhere. I get that everybody has things happen to them, no matter what the race. But right now, it just feels like my people are getting hurt, and like I'm not. Here's the thing, though. I'm not afraid of. I don't have no fear if it happens to me. I'm afraid when it happens to my mom,
Right.
my brothers and my Asian brothers and sisters, you know, or
Yeah.
just in general, like, and a homie of mine, called me and just to check in with me, and it's like, well, what can I do? What can I do? And it's like, well, here's the thing. I was like, if you are a good person, if you don't feel guilty about who you are, then there's really nothing you need to do. Like, you know what I mean? Just do the right thing. Like, obviously be aware. And then if you see something that's wrong or hear something that's wrong and it's wrong, speak up. And it doesn't matter who it is. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's white, black, Asian, whatever. It's like, I don't need you to like go on the rooftop and yell, like if you're not that type of person, if you're not the type of person to post, if you're not the type of person to be loud about stuff like this, it's okay. I don't expect you to be. Like, you know what I mean? It's more like if you are already a good person, and I know you are, and you are doing the right thing, and I think you're okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Let me ask you a question though. And I don't know. I know zero, right? I'm an idiot. But do you think that like, is this a symptom of like increased violence towards Asians? Or not the symptom, but like, is this like a result of, right? Or could it be that like our society in general has kind of like stalled in caring about each other? Like, and what I mean by that is like you said, if you're out on the streets and something's going on, I feel like before we used to care about the general society, so like people would step in, right? It's so hard to be that first person, but then after that, like people kind of like, okay,
right.
stop
If
this.
like you kind of almost have to be the first person, then they're like, oh shit, I should help,
Right.
instead of
but
like,
now it's
I
just
don't want to
like
be the
people don't want to do anything. Like they want to like mind their own business, kind of, but then also film, right?
Right. I think I don't know. I've never. I mean, I've stopped stuff before, but it's never like to that extent. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've stopped fights at bars, at parties, but it's like they were drunk. It's at a party. It's not like an actual like hate crime, or you know what I mean.
Right,
Like, it's
right.
not. I haven't seen it.
Like
Thankfully, I haven't seen it here.
Yeah,
and
like undeserved act of violence.
yeah, exactly. And I think what it is, in my opinion, I think because, and it's not just us, dude. It's like, it's everybody. It's not just white people hurting us. I've seen like stories about a black person hurting Asians too. Like,
Right.
It's not just a one type of race thing, you know? And I think it's just whatever it is to our people, my people, whatever. I think it's, in my opinion, it's because most people are just fed up with what's going on, for one, and they want somebody to blame.
Right.
And because it's the viruses from China, whatever, the viruses happen from there. So and then also China's doing their thing, but it's not. My thing is, they needed somebody to blame, so it's easier to attack. Like, fuck you, go back to your country, kind of thing.
Right.
You know, it's just easier. You know,
kinda like-
even though
like-
I don't have anything to do with that, and
Right.
like, even if you want to hate China, that's fine, but why hate the people there are already struggling and they're trying to make something out of themselves? Like, it's the government and shit. Saying all this, I'm about to get.
Dude, we're gonna.
Luckily,
it's been nice to know you guys.
Luckily, I'm not a Chinese citizen, so I'm okay.
I'm an
I'm an American citizen. I am an immigrant Asian American. So anyway, I think that's what it is. It's because
If we get suicided, you know,
yeah.
watch out, you guys.
So I think they needed somebody to blame, and it's just easier to do what they do and blame it on something else or blame it on like the recent events. He's blaming it on, oh, I'm having a bad day, and blaming it on like, oh, I have a sexual addiction, so I'm gonna go kill Asian women. Like,
I think that it's kind of like 9/11, right? Like they didn't really care who did it, right? But if you look a certain way, they're gonna go after you. Like, and it's stupid and ignorant.
Well, exactly. It's just easier to blame. Yeah, and then you have to think like, my thing is like, even though you are here before I am, I still come here to make something out of myself. I came here to live here too. Like, I have just as much right to be here as you do, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't come here to steal your job. I don't come here to steal your money. You know, so I came here because I came here for prosperity. I came here for opportunity, just like anybody else, you know? So, you know, I deserve to be here as well. So it's just really, that's it. And anyway, we're like straying off here, but yeah, I think I like we can't, and just in general, I think people shouldn't be afraid anymore. I think people should be able to help each other out, no matter the differences and stuff, you know, and be able to talk to one another.
And see, that's what really, like, I'm gonna be frank, right? And you know my soul, right? But I'm so torn about all of this because it's not that I think that like talking about separate race is bad, right? But sometimes I feel like when we segregate ourselves to, and this is going to sound super ignorant, but I just don't know how else to say it. But when we segregate ourselves to kind of like bring attention, even though it's needed attention, it almost like, I feel like it almost like kind of removes the care about general society, you know? Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like, I just, when I see like it's almost like a race, you know? And then like people just want to keep racing and racing, but then like we forget, like, dude, like why don't we just love each other, you know? Like and I know that sometimes the message that we're trying to get out is more important than just the general let's love each other, but I think it kind of like gets so forgotten, you know, to where like it almost like makes people freeze, you know?
Well, I hope it's not a race, because it really isn't, you know, because I think it's more like, because it's happening to, see, I don't like that, you know, I don't like that. No, it's happening to our people more than your people. Like, no, because it's happening to my people, I'm just trying to raise awareness, and like I'm affected by it, and there's a rise on what's going on. And I mean, a lot of it's not being reported. I have like a friend that's living in San Diego, and she's like, yeah, it's pretty bad out here. And then, you know, I hear out on the East Coast too. I have a friend out there too, and it's like, I think, yeah, I hope it's not a fucking race, because that'd be stupid, you know. I think
Right.
it's about being aware of what's going on, and like helping each other out, and like, and slowly I've seen the Black community helping our community too, and vice versa at the time when that was happening to them, and that's how it should be, where we're helping each other out, you know, where it's like, hey, why are we hurting our Asian brothers and sisters? Why are we hurting our Black brothers and sisters? And why are we hurting the Mexican, you know, whatever, including white people too? Like, to me, that there shouldn't be like a, hey, this is not, you're not welcome. Like, you know, it's like,
Right.
hey, like, if you want to help, let's go, let's help each other out. That's how I think about it. And I don't like the whole inherently like, so you're white, you're an asshole. Like, whoa, hold on, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like,
and
no,
I
I don't
think
believe that either. You know,
Yeah.
oh, you're Black, so you're a criminal. Oh, you're Mexican, you're a criminal. Oh, you're Asian, so you're smart. Like, I'm Asian, I'm kind of stupid. Like, you know what I mean?
I think you're intelligent.
But I think it sucks that we have to put the whole race thing on top on it. But I think because it's going on right now and it's crazy right now. Again, like I said, I don't fear for myself. I just fear for my people and like especially the elders and stuff like that. And that's what it's been happening to.
Yeah.
You know, and we are known for not, especially for the elder Asian community, they don't want to like make trouble, is what they usually say. Is like, oh, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. You know,
Right.
I don't want to, and especially there's a language barrier too, so it's hard for them to, you know what I mean? So it's up to us, and not just the younger generation of the Asian community, so the younger generation period, to be like, hey, why is this going on? Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I didn't want to go too deep into it just because this is not that type of podcast. Like, you know?
No, but I mean, it's something that you felt and it's on your heart. I feel like this is an appropriate place to speak about it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, I am angry about it, and I am annoyed by it, and I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of sharing it, and like, and we've talked about this before. It's when you post, it's like, make sure you post because you care enough about it, and you make sure you post because you're moved by it, or you know that it's important. Don't do it because it's trending. Don't do it because it's the coolest thing. You know what I mean? And we can
completely agree with you.
and we can go deep into this, and I have friends, I have followers that post so much about what's going on, and then because this was happening to my people, I don't see jack shit until it became a topic or discussion.
Right.
Then it's like,
Until it's popular.
it's the least that I can do.
Right.
I care. I'm like, okay.
See, the thing that bugs me about that, though, is I completely agree with you. Like, I completely agree with you, right? But then I'm also completely against putting so much value in that, in the posts,
Right.
that it bugs me, you know? And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It bugs the shit out of me, right? Like, because exactly what you said is exactly true. Like, some people on certain topics will be like right out there, right?
Yeah.
And then you see like this very passionate, right? And then other things happen, and it's like doesn't get the equal because it's not trending. Like you said, it's not popular. But I think that on the other page of that, and this is kind of like I think this is kind of why I don't. This is why like a lot of things don't really bug me, is that I don't hold value in that kind of thing, right? Like, so if I'm seeing that kind of stuff, I'm the asshole inside of me is going to say some asshole shit.
Right.
But like my person is not going to be like, personally affected.
Right. If you know the person and that's what they're about, they're passionate about it, like, okay, cool, I get it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that's why when my friend was talking to me, like, if you want to post anything, post. Like, if that's what you do and that's what brings you comfort, if that's like, this is how you like help, sure. But don't do it because you have to. You don't have to do anything. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My thing is do the fucking right thing. That's
Right.
all I ask. And if you're not the person, if you're not one to post, if you're not that type of person, that guy or that girl, whatever, that's not who you are. You only post dog pictures, then that's fine too. And you just be aware of what's going on. And if you're in your community or whatever community that you're in, help your own community, help each other out, no matter what the race. I'm cool with that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you checking up on me, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Like, so that's what you can do. Like, so I don't need you to post something and I see it. What am I going to say? Thank you so much. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to, no, like before you don't
Like,
post.
you're so woke. Shout out.
So I don't get it, and it's like, wait, so I know for a fact you don't have any Asian friends. You post this and I'm in your acquaintance and you don't even reach out to me.
You're the token Asian.
Like you're in the
acquaintance.
like, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, happy Lunar New Year. I was like, do you have any Asian friends? I'm your only Asian friend, but through proxy. And you even like text me? That's interesting. So I just think it's kind of weird, like,
Yeah.
So
It's just so interesting to me to like see things like that, like how it affects I've tried to put myself in that situation. Like, okay, what if a bunch of Mexicans, like, what if the same thing was happening to Mexicans?
Yeah.
Right? Because to be completely honest with you, not that I don't care about these things, it's just I'm going to continue to live my life in a way where I'm going to do my best to be a good person to everybody, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I'm unaffected by like somebody saying, "Oh, this and this and this." I'm just gonna be the best that I can be.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me, and I try to put myself in that situation, and like it's hard to kind of really gauge until it really hits, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, I don't know, and it's just so hard to kind of really. What's the answer? You know,
the answer is, if you know, and again, obviously don't take my word for it. I think if you think you're doing the right thing, then do the right thing. I think that's really it, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, the answer shouldn't have to be like, yeah, I want you to do this. I don't care how uncomfortable you are. I'm like, well, hold on, like, I'm doing my best. Like, you know what I mean? I'm helping the community. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like, do it because you want to. And if you don't want to do it, then that's fine. Like, I'm not going to put you in a position where you have to do something that you don't want to fucking do. Like, then it's like, then that creates resentment, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's, dude, I think that's kind of like where like you have both like sides, right? Like, and then like not of politically, I'm just saying in general of like the situation, right? So like people will say, well, you have to overcompensate.
Right.
Everybody has to overcompensate because this is justice, right? But then you have people that are on the other spectrum of that, and maybe they're in the middle, but on this side of the spectrum where it's just like, well, that makes me super uncomfortable because I'm just trying to be a good person, you know. And now you're saying that's not good enough,
Right.
You know,
right, exactly, yeah.
And that's just like, dude, that's not right either. But also, like we're gonna have compassion because that's being a good person is having compassion,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's like, man, it's hard to find that like medium, and I think social media has so much to do with like this is just trash.
Yeah, and I think you can't even you should also can't be mad at somebody that are not in like a diverse group of friends or diverse community, because like sometimes they don't choose that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're growing up in a white neighborhood and that's all you know and you don't see any other people, like, you can't really be angry at them. It's just how they get their news from or how they get their talks from, you know. Then if you're curious, then go into college where there's a diverse group of people and get to know those type of people, know their culture. It sits really heavy on me because like I fucks with culture. Like, I love pop culture, I love like fashion, I love all that shit, and it comes from every single diverse group of people. You know, I've had the opportunity to grow up with black people around me, Mexican people around me, Asian people around me, white people around me. Like, I've had that privilege. You know, I used to stay at my friend's house that's black, and I was really close to their family and stuff like that. I've went to church with them and stuff. Like, I've experienced all of that, you know. So it sits heavy on me, and like, that's why I post it, because I care, you know. And then if like the whole Mexican thing happens, like you said, I wouldn't want to post anything, because then I would check in with you like, hey man, like this is going on, like blah blah blah, like how are you doing? You know, I would check in with you first, because that you're the closest like Mexican person that like Mexican American that I know. It's just weird saying that, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just I check in with you, and I used to be close to a Mexican person in like high school and stuff. We grew apart, and that's how just life is. You just grow apart, you know. And my best friend's black, but
I had to throw that one in.
Yeah, but you know, and music and whatever the type of music I do, the style that I love, like, it's just, you just have to kind of recognize where it's coming from, and just know that it's all created by a diverse group of people and diverse cultures. So like, and it just sits heavy on me because it fucks with me, you know. So,
do you think that the world would be better if everybody was just? And this is the thing this is why I think that it makes zero difference, right? But do you think the world would be better if everybody was just tan?
Well, I think in the future, and it's already starting, like, there's not going to be a one group of race. It's gonna be like you're gonna be mixed with everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I agree, but is that going to change anything? See, and this is where I think the human nature part, I don't think it'll change anything. People are going to find something to differentiate
I
themselves.
mean, of course, you can go with Christians, Muslims, and
Yeah.
Jewish people. You know, you can go with like baseball teams. You can go with any sports team. You can go with like DC, Marvel movies. Like, you can go
Yeah.
with anything. You know what I mean? And I think because it's just, and that's the crazy part is if you're not right, you're a piece of shit. If you're not left, you're a piece of shit. Oh, you're center, you're a piece of shit.
Yep.
And I was like, what's going on here? Like,
Yep.
that's why my thing is humans are made to make mistakes depending on what the mistakes are. And you're supposed to learn from them. And that's human nature. That's humankind. It's just a matter of what you do after. And that differences are okay. And you're supposed to be different from one another. And like, you can work together and talk to each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me that exactly, like, social media is kind of bullshit. Like, it's all a fucking joke, really, you know, in my opinion.
But it's so influential, dude.
Of course, yeah.
And that's what fucking sucks.
Yeah, that's why we're not famous. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, because I know enough that it's a joke. Like, you know, and we're doing this, but we can have that conversation. We can talk about it. And like, it's just a matter of question if we do get to this weird path of like on the rise or something, then what kind of person are we going to be when we get there? Is it going to exacerbate the shittiness that we already are? Is it going to bring out the good in us? What are we going to do? Like, you know what I mean? Right now we can talk about it. Right now it's like, oh, I will never do that.
Right.
But you never know until you get to that.
Yeah, and you never know until somebody's pushing you. Right?
I'll
Like,
never buy a Ferrari, but actually I can afford it now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know why anybody would need that, bitch.
Because you ain't got no money.
It's because I got
why.
$10 billion in the bank.
Exactly,
that's why.
exactly.
And why the fuck not?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So
Perspective.
So you never know, and I think being aware that it's okay, it's normal, it's good, but we'll never really know when we get there, you know. But I think it's all a fucking joke, really. I think it's a joke, and I think knowing that it's a joke, it's okay. Like perfect example, what I could do is I did the portraits, and albeit like I think they look good, they look awesome when I did it, but why would I post like, so I went to like this photographer and then this photographer took me and like I look good. Like, I made a joke out of it because like I'm just a silly person by nature, and I'm like, I was like, man, I can be in a Korean, like this just in my head, I'm playing around my head, so I just posted something stupid and silly, you know. And
those pictures look fucking great though.
I know,
dude.
they look pretty like
And then I saw like you kept saying about Korean dramas, right? And I was just like, dude, you don't look fucking Korean. I don't know what you're talking about. But then I saw a picture of a Korean dude with like a long jacket like that. And I was like, oh, it clicked. It was just like that instant. I'm like, damn, dude, Xander looks like that. That's what Xander looks like. I clicked. Exactly. I understood.
And then which is kind of weird because I left the part like also I'm full of shit at the end just to see if people read the whole thing. You know, it's an experiment. And I had a handful of people like, oh, dude, that's so awesome. I'm like, you know, it's a joke, right?
Yeah.
For one, I'm not Korean. For two, I don't speak Korean, but thank you. Like, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's just silly. But anyway, we need to get into what your insecurity is because we didn't really get to it.
I honestly I relate a lot to some of the stuff that you were saying, you know, as far as like belonging, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's some of my insecurities stem a lot from not outside influence, but inside acceptance. And that's where like my insecurities are from. It's not like based off of society or, you know, other people's thoughts. Because for me, honestly, I think that I was kind of like shamed out of that. Like, it's a common story, I'm sure. You know, as a kid, I was made fun of for being fat, you know, and I had to figure out a way to either shut down, cope, and be that weak, not weak, but like, you know, like be that, like be super depressed, upset about it.
Yeah.
Or turn it around, right?
Yeah.
And my personality, of course, I'm going to turn it around. So, of course, I started making fun of myself for being fat or, you know, I still do that. Or like just not caring, right? Putting it's like D&D, like putting my skill points into something else.
Yeah.
So I think that the outside influence part of my insecurities are gone, because I have, everybody has insecurities about something about physical, right? And I do too, but it's not like anything that affects my daily life. That I'm kind of over. Obviously, part of it is probably because I have a hot ass wife, so it's like, well, I'm in.
Yeah.
But most of my insecurities come from inside me. So it's about accepting the fact that I deserve what I have in life. Still super insecure about where I am in life, the accomplishments that I've had. That is something that I struggle with a lot. And that's like, giving myself a little bit of credit for accomplishing as much as I have, and being okay with that, and not like feeling like, oh, I don't deserve to be here, so I need to prove something, or or take a second to stop, enjoy what you have, instead of constantly seeking something else to prove,
like almost like validation type thing.
Yeah, to prove that that you are deserving of this lot in life,
Yeah.
And I'm not amazingly successful. I'm not like amazingly rich, but I'm good, and it's a place that a lot of people aren't,
I mean,
I have the luxury of
owning your own house.
Well, not even that. Like, I have the luxury of thinking of things that I want to do for myself and things that I want to do to make myself happy,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about surviving, eating, So my insecurities stem from accepting that, I was just actually talking about it today. One of my friends from work gave me my first commission ever, super simple, just like card holders. And I went to, just before I got here, we went to go buy some wood to complete the project, right? So I'm doing the math.
You're bad at.
Which was simple, thank God. I just did some simple multiplication with the calculator.
Like an eighth of an inch? Can't do it. Can't do it.
Can you just give me this, this much number? But I did the math, right? And I calculated how much wood I needed, so I got it. But dude, like, my self-doubt, I know that I'm going to get there eventually.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm not there now that's like my biggest issue, my biggest like insecurity, like the fact that I'm not there, that skill, like
right.
That fucking kills me, dude. That makes me so upset,
Yeah, but also like the only way for you to get better is to fuck up.
Understood.
A lot. Like,
Understood.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but and I always say it, I'm so bad at being bad at things.
Yeah. Yeah, because because you feel like almost inadequate. You're like, I can't do this, but logically you have to keep doing it to be better, but because you're not good right now, it's like it's affecting you differently.
Right. And I think that it stems, like, it just goes all back, I'm sure, but like I'm typically pretty good at things. I pick them up pretty quick, and I've learned that skill because in the past I've had low self-worth, or I've had the perspective that other people have low self-worth of me,
Yeah.
So therefore I have to pick things up quick. I have to be good at things to compensate and to make sure and prove that I am worth something. Prove it to everybody else at first, right? Now that everybody else part, whatever. Yeah. But now it's like, I've instilled that in my brain, so now I got to prove it to myself.
I think it comes down to that chip on the shoulder thing when you're talking about me. Like, I'm overcompensating by working extra hard and like doing things more than I need to, because in my head, or I don't even know if they feel the same way, in my head I'm just like, oh, I'm Asian, and because I'm not stereotypically good at this, I need to be good at this. Right. Like, you know what I mean? So you're like, but that's all in my head when I'm thinking that. No, I have to be Xander Gray. I can't be Asian guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
it's like similar drives, right? Like, you're similar, like that similar attitude where it's just like, oh, I have to be this.
Yeah,
I have to be
yeah.
better. Right. I have to
Right.
be pick it up faster.
Right.
It's just like different reasons.
So they know your name, like they know Jonathan Serrano, and not like, oh, that Mexican kid.
Exactly.
Like,
I
you know
can't
what I
just
mean?
be like, or not even that. Like for me, and that's the difference, right? Like for me, it's not that Mexican kid, right? For me, it's just like that other respiratory therapist, or that other woodworker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, the value is not in not being that Mexican kid, and I don't fault you for that. Like,
Yeah.
but it's just everybody's motivations are different.
Right. Yeah.
And for me, it's not being that. It's just not being that other guy. Like,
Yeah.
like when my boss is like, oh, who do we get for this project? Get Jonathan because he's going to handle business.
Right.
That's my motivation.
And that has nothing to do with like, oh, he's Mexican, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I think that's good. I think there's gotta be a line, that's in again, like most of the time I'm probably talking on my ass, but I'm just saying like there's gotta be a line. And for certain things, then it shouldn't matter. And then for some things, you should.
What the hell?
That's the end, because I put it at a specific.
We just got Emmy'd?
We gotta walk off. We gotta walk
just
off.
got Emmy.
We gotta walk off. Okay.
I just want to thank you to my man.
Okay, thank you, my minute chickens. Jesus.
Yeah, Spotify.
So real quick, the reason why we kind of stop halfway talking, because usually I put the theme song in the beginning and the very end to just kind of I figured specifically where it needs to be, but I accidentally turned on the audio so you can hear the music. So that's why he was like, we're getting Oscared out or whatever. Yeah, whatever that thing is called. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. That's what I mean. I think that's good for like a job where you don't even think about that. You're like, I need to be the best respiratory therapist instead of I need to be the great. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's good in certain aspect, but you also have to recognize like the differences with it too.
And the thing is like I'll be fair, right? To be fair to everything else is, I am just not conscious of that, and maybe I should have more consciousness of, that the fact that maybe I am setting a precedent in some people's mind about Mexicans.
Yeah.
But that just doesn't play in my head. And maybe it should a tiny bit more. But for me, my hang up and my issue is more right in there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I've just experienced it all my life, like because I played sports or whatever, and it's like, oh, you're pretty good for an Asian guy, or like pretty okay at basketball for an Asian guy. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck? Like, it's just weird. So I've experienced it all my life. So then I had to like go doubly hard with everything I do, and is it healthy? Maybe. Is it unhealthy? Yeah. Maybe. Like,
that's that's like the problem and the problem and the solution.
Yeah.
Right? Is it healthy? Hell no. But are you fucking good?
Yeah. But I think being aware of it is important too. And being aware of our flaws and being aware of our insecurities and just like working towards like getting better and working towards like, okay, I know I do this, and looking back, whatever in my opinion, it is kind of unhealthy. Okay, why? And then like, I hate this because blah blah blah. Okay, why do you hate it? And like, I've been using that form of meditation of it's like learn it from you too a few times. It's just like when you have a problem, you almost have to like really sit and just kind of go back. Because it's hard. We don't have that kind of data in our head. We really have to go deep in our head to kind of go back in that data, like to realize that trauma or microaggression that happened to us, to kind of understand why we are the way that we are, and it's humbling, like I hate this or I don't like this because this happened to me. That makes sense. Oh, because I was like this. That makes sense. Like, fuck. Like, yeah, it's hard to like call yourself out. It's hard to like say like, oh, I'm fucking flawed, and I have to admit to the stuff that I hate about myself. But you need to do all that to, at least in my opinion, you need to do all that to grow, to be better, and it's hard, dude. It's when you're not that type of person, like when you're not like you're so used to one thing for so long, and then having to
Yeah.
change and having to be better, or having somebody to tell you that, hey man, like what you do is offensive, or like, hey, what you do is like, it's fucked up. Like, no, it's
Yeah,
not.
like, or even telling yourself that, like,
Right.
that is, I think that's the hardest thing for me is like looking in the mirror and just being like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Man,
You know?
in the mirror.
Yeah, seriously though, like,
Yeah, it's hard.
That is the
That
hardest.
is the
part.
hardest part, is to like look at yourself, really look at yourself, and just like, oh, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But
Like,
how good does it feel though after? You
Yeah.
know, like the growth
Yeah.
of like admitting it to yourself and then making, even if it's small changes.
yeah.
I think for me that feels, and it kind of just drives your life a little forward.
Yeah.
You know?
I think from what I realized from like trying to grow, it takes a while, man. Like, knowing the problem is one thing, but knowing what to do and being aware that you're doing it, that's the hardest thing, is to
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, I'm doing the thing that am aware of, that I keep doing. And it just takes a while. Like, it took me a while to kind of like get out of that, of what I've done or whatever, Anyway, thanks for sharing. That's huge. It's just it can be pretty uncomfortable sometimes, admitting or talking about what you feel in your head that you have a problem with, or that's wrong with you. So thanks for sharing.
Same with you, dude.
Yeah.
I hope that your heart, it feels a little relief. You know,
No, I'm still angry.
always.
Always.
That's the secret.
That's the
You're
secret.
always angry.
If you don't know that line, you ain't my friend. Anyway, so thank you for listening to the Doer and the Thinker podcast. We'll see you next week. You can find us anywhere. And then Jonathan has been working on clips on YouTube, so he has shortened it so you can see the best parts, the worst parts, the funny parts, the silly parts. Boom, they're all right there on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube.
The titles will be a little more specific, so you can kind of get an idea of the topic. I should add the episode is from in the description, but I didn't because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, bingo, bango, bangus. So we'll just let us know what you think, and we're gonna do more of that. He's gonna do more of that. Thank you, and yeah. So I'll see you all next week.
Podcast.